Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another episode of Law High powered by ZABIST, your front row seat to real stories, legal challenges, and struggles by lawyers who have been there, done that, and lived to share their tales. Brought to you by ZABFM Digital. My name is ZABFM and I'm your host today. We're joined by a proud alumnus, Abdul Rafi Suri. He has spent the first 5 years in litigating corporate, constitutional, and civil matters. And recently, Mr. Suri has joined Angro Corporation Limited, where his roles encompass corporate structuring, mergers and acquisitions, and regulatory compliances, among other core responsibilities. Welcome to the show, Rafi.
Happy to be here.
Well, thank you for taking some time out for us, Rafi. Well, tell me, what was the biggest lesson you learned as a litigator in the first 5 years?
The biggest lesson that I learned in the first 5 years was probably nothing replaces hard work, A. And secondly, if you think you know everything, you know nothing when you come into the field. So yeah, and it's a learning curve, it's a big learning curve. And throughout the way, especially as a student here when I was in ZABIST, we learned concepts in university. And then when you go out into the practical world, you realize things work a little differently. But as long as your core concepts are strong, you're moving forward.
Right.
One of many things that I learned along the way.
I'm sure. No, but I like your positive attitude of when you think you know something and it's actually you know nothing.
I've been there and done that, right? So that's why.
No, that's good. And I'm guessing that there must have been many humbling experiences for you to come to that conclusion.
Definitely. For example, I think generally the law practice here in Pakistan is very different from what we learn in textbooks. Right? And when you come here, you realize that there is a district court here, there's a high court here. There are way certain things where you have to go wear a suit, you have to, be out there in the field.
Right.
And obviously, by the end of the day, you have to go back to your office or home and research because you have to be updated on a lot of things. So overall, yes, it is very humbling. It's not easy. I do not think being a lawyer in Pakistan, specifically in Karachi, because Karachi is like a mega hub, right?
Right.
And everyone's there to get their own piece. So I don't think it's easy, but people who are really passionate about being a lawyer, whatever your reasons are for being a lawyer or being a litigator specifically, I think they really need to stick it out. Because your first few years, you are as blank as maybe I was in our first class when you taught me trust or property law. So that is where you start off after university, after you think you've earned it by getting a law degree. And yeah, that's how it goes moving forward.
And then you realize, no.
Oh, no. That's exactly what it is. You think you know.
Hence the humbling experience begins.
It's better if you have that mindset early on.
Yes.
You know that you're ready to learn from everyone around you has something that they will teach you.
To offer you,
They will, and you
need to have that attitude, where you're willing to learn something from the other person.
Obviously, because I remember back when we were in university, we would be taught tort, trust, property, and then you come into practice, and then there's a civil procedure code that was made in 1908. Amended from time to time, but it is what it is. And then you have to learn things from scratch. Conceptually, you're there, right? You will, if you worked hard in university or had good teachers, you will get there, but you need to understand that you are on day one.
Yes.
Moving forward.
Yes.
And obviously, you learn a lot of things along the way. A lot of things you understand what it means to people to win or lose a case. You understand the risk involved. You understand the satisfaction you will get, not from winning a case, from doing your best. And
exactly. So as important as winning is, you can't can't
win everything.
Exactly.
But the thing is,
as long as you know you did your best.
The thing is, in litigation especially, I'll single it out. The litigation is overall tough. I think it's tougher than most professions that you would get into. But work satisfaction, I believe, is on another level. If you prepare for a case, if you argue well, and obviously, you have courtrooms full of people, and then when you've done a good job, and you know that what you were trying to say, whatever your client wanted you to the best of your abilities to put across, and you have put it across and you have put a dent on the notebook of the judge in front of you, then I think that is one of the most satisfying feelings.
For a litigator.
I mean, if you win, that's icing on the top, but it is great. overall.
Then why the switch?
I wanted to learn how it is on the other side as well. And see, in litigation, I spent 5 years. So from day one, I was in courtrooms, whether it is district court, high court, assisting in the Supreme Court, if whether it's in labor court, you have anti-corruption courts here. I've been there as well. I've been to banking courts as well, argued cases there, and then you have NIRC, which is the National Industrial Relations Commission. I've also argued there, and I've also even practiced outside of
different
Karachi.
tribunals?
In tribunals outside of Karachi, I have presented cases in Quetta, I have presented in Hyderabad. So I wanted to learn everything I could possibly learn in my first 5 years. And I was really ambitious in that sense, that I wanted everything. I wanted to know everything, I wanted to get into everything. Obviously, I had a niche in my practice that I spent most of my time practicing, which is mostly civil, commercial, and constitutional. But I mean, I never really practiced criminal law, but I've done pro bono criminal practice.
Okay.
I have done that. I have, wherever I feel like someone has been wronged by the system or by someone else in the system, I have taken up matters pro bono, gotten bails,
That's
proceeded in trials. And yeah, so I really did want to do all of that. And then the one thing I always felt that I missed out was I had never actually explored being a corporate lawyer. So obviously last year there's an opportunity that came up, and while I was deliberating, obviously I had only spent 5-6 years, so I thought maybe right now at my age I can make the shift and explore and say, what am I
Especially
doing
the
here?
routine of 9 to 5.
What am I doing here? Why are there so many people that I'm answerable to, and all of that? But eventually I got used to it, and yeah, it's been great. I think it was one of the best decisions I could have made for my career
Yeah.
at that time, definitely.
Did you have any particular reason, any epiphany that came across that you thought, oh, okay, now is the right time, or just because an opportunity came around and you were like,
I mean,
okay, let's avail this?
Basically, what happened is that I wasn't exploring for an opportunity out of litigation, but something just came across, and it was, you could say, proposed. And at that time, obviously, I had a few people in my social circle who had made the shift and told me that, you should try it out before you make a decision what you want to do for the rest of your life. And for that reason, initially you could say I wanted to try it to see how it goes, how it is from the other side. And since then, what I've done is I've kept on. You could say that I was brought on for a certain role, and what I did was, and I would recommend everyone to do that. I kept expanding what I do.
Okay.
I did not stay. When I was brought on, remember, I was brought on as someone known as a litigation counsel, which was coordinating, managing risk assessment in terms of litigation
Right.
of my employer. From that point on, what I did was I got into intellectual property, something I've but maybe practiced once or twice in the 5-6 years I was in litigation. So I entered a whole different world of intellectual property. How do you protect yourself, where to go, what the procedure is, what the law says, and the nitty-gritties of it. After that, I also got into corporate advisory. And from corporate advisory is what I mean is that as a litigator, you are only accustomed to thinking in a legal framework. And I think as a corporate advisor, your commercial sense needs to be there. So you integrate legally what you think and commercially for what the most viable option is, considering
The circumstances.
Yeah.
So do you think your litigating background has certainly given you an edge in settling in and assisting you with the tasks that were assigned to you?
Yeah, definitely. Because the thing is, in litigation, what you learn is what can be done in court and what can't be done in court.
Right.
Right? So the biggest thing that you learn from there is
The tactics.
the tactics, the law, where you are overstepping, and obviously 5-6 years when you spent reading up on case law, Pakistani case law, precedents, judgments that changed the landscape of many different things, then you're well aware of what's happening and what could happen. So I definitely think, and obviously I think litigation gives you a work ethic like no other. So that is what
I think that would be like a very personal decision.
I mean, I
It
think
should.
I,
You're right.
I personally feel like if you want to make it in a field where currently you have more than 20,000 lawyers in this city alone,
Mm-hmm.
right? In 20,000 people who are practicing law, you need to have something, right? I mean, there's always going to be someone who's smarter than you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
That's
the
a
case
good-
that you can be the
mm.
you're the smartest student there is, or you know law on your fingers. There's always something. Everyone brings something to the table. So you just have to decide what you bring.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I feel work ethic takes you a long way. It really does.
I agree with you. So, Rafi, tell me, what is that one skill you've acquired during your litigation period? Anything in particular that comes to your mind?
Public speaking.
Yeah?
Funny story, actually. I'll give you a bit of a backstory. I decided I want to be a lawyer, went to law school, got my license, started appearing in district courts, never realized I have to speak in front of a judge or a courtroom or in front of people. And I'll tell you what happened is I was working at Iqbal and Asim. This is back in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
This was when I started appearing independently in courts to argue cases. And what happened is, I remember even at that firm, usually since I was relatively new, they used to really push. They had a very case-intensive practice, right? They have a lot of cases at that time, a lot of panels, a lot of panel work as well.
That's
So
nice.
they used to really push me to start appearing.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the shuru ke cases my colleagues at that time handed to me were the ones जिसमें the judge already hated who we were or was annoyed at something. So I still remember in 2020, this was also district judge East at that time. There was a case. It was I stood up in court and realized that इस case में शायद we've been taking adjournments or something since 2 dates because the witness could not come for X, Y, or Z reason. And they made me stand up to take another adjournment, right? So I'm standing in court, and when I walk over to the podium, I realize that my legs are shaking. And then I'm standing there, and I'm just looking at him, and then I'm trying to convince him to give me a date.
another date.
And we promise, I think I said something along those lines, that we promise on the next date, we will get the witness in court and he will appear for evidence. And while speaking, I realized I'm choking as well, and I'm not that clear, and I'm just so scared of making a fool out of myself in court. And at that point, I realized that as a kid, I remember I was part of a school play. I dropped a mic on my head during it. I think I had 2 lines, and I think as soon as it started, I dropped a mic on my head.
How?
And the mic was attached to the ceiling,
okay.
and basically I just had to say I think a line or 2 lines. It's like this is back in like 4th, 5th grade, and the mic dropped, and I remembered all the kids. Obviously, everyone, like we were kids at that time, and everyone laughed. And maybe at that time I didn't realize, but
That memory stayed with
yeah,
you.
and I never really pushed myself into public speaking from then till I graduated, till I became a lawyer.
Wow.
And that's when it hit me that, I should have really thought this through. If I want to be a litigator, I mean, this is something. So I was just there and I'm like, what do I do? Public speaking is one of the things that every litigator
skill
needs.
you need, yeah.
You need to be a litigator or else don't be a litigator.
Yes.
So I said, okay, let's see. So every day I would eventually, like every day I was appearing in at least one case. And then I remember my voice would start coming out a bit more. My legs would be a little less shaky. I wouldn't feel like my heart is dropping to my stomach every time. And this was something that I think it took at least a month
To get
of
used to this.
appearing daily,
Right.
in front of a judge, that you got used to. But basically, obviously I needed to face my fear. B, I really had to push through. And I feel that was something which was, you could say, a weakness or a gray area that I had. And I'm sure everyone has it. Like everyone has something. So I think litigation really taught me public speaking. It taught me that I have to do this. You have to push through. So yeah, that was that. It was tough.
Amazing.
That 1 month was really tough, if you ask me.
Amazing story. I'm so glad you shared.
Yeah.
Could you share any experience where you realize work ethic has to be a part of Rafe Suri?
Um, See, I am technically, yes, I am a first generation lawyer in the sense that both my parents are not from the field.
Okay.
However, I have a lot of people in my family who are lawyers. So growing up, I thought it was easy because I only saw
Your
the
extended family then?
yeah. Basically, I saw the luxuries of being a lawyer or litigator,
A successful.
a successful one.
Okay.
And I thought this is nice. I like this. And then when I remember first day when I stepped into district court, considering I had
Oh.
only been to my school, my university before that, I did
Yes.
not even intern as much as a student. And when I stepped there, and I was like, where am I? What am I doing? What did I sign up for? And after that, there was like, I think there was a week when I started my professional career where I thought that this is something I don't want to do. Like, this is too hard. But then obviously at some point I realized, like, okay, why did I get into law school? Okay, I wanted to be a litigator at that time. Okay, so what do I need to do to be a litigator? I realized I have to get through this somehow.
Okay.
So yeah, I just stuck on, if I'm being honest. And through the years, obviously, you keep, you get better at what you do.
That specific work ethic, I'm actually asking because the little practice that I did, work ethic was a very rare commodity in practice. So I would really like for you to expound on this concept.
Okay.
What do you consider is work ethic?
If you wanted to hire a lawyer, what would you look for? A, intellect. B, responsibility. C, he needs to be a workhorse when it needs to be, right? If I told you that I'm smart, but I'm lazy, so I might not make it in your case in the morning, or might not be prepared. And as I said, it's a big bunch of people. It's 20,000 lawyers.
It's very competitive.
It's
It's
very,
very
competitive.
competitive.
So, you have to be doing what others aren't doing.
Yeah, you could easily be
Whether
replaced.
it's either you start off early when you're a student, start interning if that allows you. If you're obviously, because studies come first, if your routine allows you and your studies allow you, then start practicing. If not, start reading. You need to be accustomed with the law. You need to go to court. You need to know what the procedures are, because there are a lot of different things. If you're a criminal lawyer, everyone knows you have to be in court early in the morning, right? Serial wise chalta, you have to be there early in the morning. You have to be there, and there are a lot of things that if you have to get a stay in the morning in a case, you have to find a way out. It doesn't matter if it's 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 5 p.m., and you have to rush home. Sometimes
And the
you
judges
have
appreciate that. They watch you.
Yeah,
While-
I mean,
while
obviously,
you're sitting there waiting
the
your
thing is,
turn.
the biggest pressure as a litigator is that you are still answerable to someone. That is the courtroom. So if you stand there and you look dumb or you don't know what you're doing, that reflects horribly on you, and reputation only comes one time. Lose it really easily, and then it'll take you years to get back your
Rebuild
reputation. So I personally think that you don't have to be the smartest. You do need to be the most hardworking. If you're weak in something, you have to work on it. I did not, I'll give you a personal experience. I had trouble reading Urdu.
Achha.
Right, so I had
Especially legal Urdu.
thing is, I had Urdu was in O levels. So in my practice, I think this was my second or third year in practice, I took up a pro bono bail case. The FIR came up, it's in Urdu, and legalese Urdu is something else. And I remember I got the translation done, and I presumed, fine, it's translated. I can just argue this and give my points for why I want a bail in my case. I went to court. There were, I think, 30, there was a district judge at that time. There were at least 40 or 50 people in court. And I was standing on the podium, my case got called, I went up, and the judge asked me to read the FIR. And then I opened up the translation, and he was like, "Nahi, Vakil Sahab, not this one, Urdu wali FIR." And then I'm standing there, and I'm like, okay, there are 50 people. And you're a young lawyer, so you really don't want to be in that position. So I'm standing there, and I'm like, what do I do? And then I nudged an associate of mine, and I asked him, can you read it? And then he's all confused. And then the judge is looking at me, he's like, Vakil Sahab, what's the problem? Why aren't you reading it? And I'm like, sir, I'm so sorry. Can I read the translation? I won't be able to read the Urdu FIR. And he looked at me, he's like, you're a lawyer, Vakil Sahab, you should know it. I mean, he's like, theek hai, he acceded. He said that you can do it if you want. but you should know this. And I felt really embarrassed. So the next time I got a pro bono bail,
Partly,
I think I spent 2 hours or 3 hours a day before reading up on to be fluently reading Urdu in the FIR and knowing every word. So yeah, that is. I mean, I could have let it be at that position. That okay, I don't know something. I don't know something. But that's not the answer to most things in life.
How do you see how do you deal with client management now that your own employer happens to be a client of yours?
See, that is probably one of the biggest shifts that, mentally that you make when you shift from your practice to an in-house position. Because when you're in practice, we used to have this saying, कि stay मिलेगा, case dismiss होगा, allow होगा, XYZ. Client अपना नसीब लेकर आता है. It's his own luck. That's gonna dictate it. You work hard, but it's at the end, and it's also his risk. If you lose a case, obviously you'll feel horrible. You'll try to provide solutions on the way forward, but it's not like you're losing anything. When you shift in-house, and if you want to successfully shift in-house, you need to take ownership. There are, people do believe that, in litigation you have tough hours and in-house you don't. But if you take proper ownership, I don't think there's a restriction on that. Things will bother you. It doesn't matter if it's 5 p.m. or if it's later. And you will come across things, you will work on things because you take ownership. If, for example, your client or your employer loses money, it should affect you.
Right.
Yeah, it should. That's what I personally feel.
So, usually in-house counsels outsource their cases.
Yeah.
What's the situation at Angro?
We outsource in litigation matters.
Specifically?
Yeah, like in litigation, we outsource, and obviously then we coordinate with them, we figure out strategies moving forward, we do all of that, but obviously they are the ones who appear in court.
So when you say ownership, suppose you chose a law firm to outsource and they end up losing the case, what happens? How do things unfold at your workplace?
You can't dictate whether you win or lose a case, obviously, but it can't be, oh, that's not my problem. Do you get what I mean? You can't have that problem, oh, he lost it. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, he lost a case. What do we do next?
Not hire them again.
What does the order say? Are there as a lawyer, are there any grounds that exist for you to file an appeal? Is there any remedy that you can get moving forward? You can't put your hands up, is what I'm saying. That happened.
Right.
So yeah.
I got it. What kind of skill or mindset would a student, anybody listening to our show right now, what kind of a mindset or skill would they need to have if they start off in-house only?
If they start off in-house only right after law school, they need to be really diligent. You have to be really diligent.
Isn't
because
that for any profession? Yeah.
Especially in litigation, right? I feel like you get a lot of opportunity to learn from other people not being diligent.
Achha.
Because if you're getting a case and there's a dispute, something went wrong, and you're there to identify it. As an in-house counsel, you're probably part of the problem. That's why it became a dispute moving forward. So yeah, that. And secondly, I feel you're a student. You're always a student.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah, learn and always be willing to learn.
Right. And how do you stay updated now that you're an in-house counsel? So you have to be updated with the legal trends as well as the business trends.
See, the thing is, obviously, since a lot of us who are in-house right now have spent years in litigation, we are updated through, obviously, we have a lot of things that, like, we have databases like Pakistan Law Site, and obviously you have Supreme Court's website, and honestly, if anything changes a landscape in anything, then you're
bound to hear about it from the legal fraternity as well.
You will definitely get the order or the judgment, and yeah, that's how we do stay updated.
And
law journals mostly.
What about the business trends? Given that you're part of the organization.
Since we're still lawyers, we hear about it.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What's your advice moving forward to any young lawyers who are currently in litigation and maybe thinking about shifting into in-house?
If the lawyers were in litigation thinking, I mean, I would say never bound yourself, keep options open, and if you're actually considering it, I would say do try it out. And when I say try it out, do not look at it from a litigator's perspective. Just roll back and just be a lawyer. Do not expect the same lifestyle. Do not expect that, exactly what you take is gonna somehow translate into being an in-house counsel. And yeah, that's about it.
If an opportunity came where, maybe you were offered to become a partner at some law firm, would you be
Tough
willing
question.
to
It's a very tough
would you
question.
be willing to leave this in-house role?
It all depends, honestly. It all
Because
depends.
last week we had another alumnus with us, and so she had just been an in-house counsel from day one. And initially she was interested in litigation, and I think she would have been really good at it too. But she said now the fringe benefits involved and the package deals, because it's not the same
There
in
is a
litigation.
certain security. Considering how things are in Pakistan, obviously it's 26th Amendment. You had the Sin Civil Code Ordinance that came about. A lot of cases got drawn because
To city courts,
I
yeah.
feel like maybe a lot of people who do the external program are then they intern or are hired by us law firms that mostly did practice primarily in the High Court.
Right, yeah,
So
that's true.
that's a very different. Even my last office, right, the one I worked before shifting in house, primarily the practice was in High Court. So you're trained a certain way, right? You are trained a certain way. You appear a certain way. You argue, research, observe a certain way. And then obviously now when I see everything, I mean, there were around, I think, 35,000 cases that have been transferred to district
From
court.
Sindh High Court to
Yeah,
city court.
it's changed a lot of things for a lot of people. And then the biggest question is, I think for me, I don't know about others, was do I want to do that?
You want to go to city courts on a daily
Yeah,
basis.
like when I've already I've already experienced 5-6 years of my practice. I've taken my time in district court. Now I'm in the high courts. I am getting accustomed to the high court and practicing there, and then everything shifts, and now everything, especially on the civil side, has to go to the district court.
Right.
Do you want to do that? I mean, I understand in Lahore, Islamabad, that's always been the case in other cities and other provinces, but now that's a little different. And it all depends if you want to do that. And secondly, obviously, there's certain security when you're in house. There is, in litigation, obviously, there's no ceiling, but also you don't know where the ground, starts or ends. So it'll always vary if
That's
you are
true.
an independent litigator. And even if you're a partner, I feel you can't ascertain where you'll be in the next 5 years. I think maybe in-house gives you a bit of that foresight. And right now I can say, okay, fine. I want to be that in 5 years, but I'll probably be that in 5 years. In litigation, you can't say. You can only hope.
You can foresee a better future.
Yeah, basically you have a career path that you can see that, okay, fine, after this will be the next step. After this will be the next step.
Promotions.
Yeah, or if you're
Or
shifting somewhere
other,
else
job
or
opportunities.
any other opportunity, you still know. I mean, who knows, the law might change again and it'll say district court के अलावा कहीं और भी cases जाएंगे. Then what do? You get it?
So one has to remain very flexible
Yeah.
in litigation.
You have to.
Extremely
you have to be.
flexible.
You have to be.
And again, given that the huge number of litigators around,
Yeah, it's competitive.
it's very
Everything
competitive.
is competitive because I feel like you have so many law students coming in every year. You have so many people who are doing their bachelors and then they are coming into the field. And in Pakistan, I feel practically things are very different. So even when I was a student, there was a certain expectation that, we're gonna, I loved public law, so I thought I'm gonna do that, something around that, and then I saw land matters, and then when you go to court, you
But
realize
Pakistani law is completely
it's
different.
something. I mean, I still don't think that there's a concept of easements here.
Oh, no, wait. In tort law, yeah, they mentioned
Yeah.
it. And even that is from 1910. Yeah, another
Yeah.
very, very old
Yeah,
statute.
exactly. So that's the thing. And when you come here, I mean, for example, I like studying property law. You open up the documents here, everything's in Urdu.
Completely different.
Or
yeah.
probably something else, and then kya kehte hain, you haven't really, that's not something that you were inclined to, as a student. So things are very different, but I would say one should explore both options.
And then decide for
Yeah,
themselves.
you need to know what's on the other side.
And that's a wrap for another episode at Law Hive. Huge thanks to Rafe for keeping it very real and unfiltered stories, the shift from litigation to in-house. And thank you for listening to Law Hive. If you like this episode, catch us again for another episode next week. Take care.